Shadows. At this point, you don't want to smudge your beautiful drawing work. Grab yourself some scrap paper, right? This is the great time to go to the recycle bin. Get that sheet of paper out of the bin there. Use it as a shade guard, okay? And so I'm going to start with this ground area here because that's actually a little bit of my darker tone. It's catching less light. And so I'm just going to put in, I'm going right up to the edge of my objects too. I'm not leaving any halos. And I'm going to put in kind of a firm pressure medium tone. I don't want to go super, super dark because we're going to have some cast shadows. So firm pressure, medium tone. And I'm going to end up blitzing through probably quite a bit of pencil here. Again, if you're working with a mechanical pencil, just realize you've got a little bit more work to do. So I'm really tilting my pencil to the side. I'm going to rotate my paper. I'm trying to keep the pressure as even as possible. It's going to make my, I'm bring it right up to the edge of the glass, right? No halos. It's going to make my blending work a bit easier the more even I can keep that pressure and pencil. Okay. So bring it right on around, and it is quite dark. So, you know, firm pressure right up to the edge of the object, but don't go, save some of that darkest, heaviest value, because I do see a cast shadow in there on this black paper, so we want to get that in there as well. I'm going to call this like my firm medium pressure. I'm doing my best to get my pencil right to the edge of the paper. And if your hand, as your hand gets tired, take breaks. I'm still working from my reference photograph. I'm still looking at value. I'm still looking at tone. I'm gonna go a little bit heavier on this one because this one that's catching a little bit more light is gonna be a little bit lighter. You know, it's still gonna be dark, but gonna be a little bit lighter pencil pressure. A lot of sharpening here too. What's nice about the background too is it's just a flat surface, so you know we don't have to worry about fancy curved shading stroke or anything. But we do want to make sure we're getting right up to the edge of the glass. Don't leave a halo behind. And we're going to just manipulate the value to make sure our glasses still pop out. Absolutely no outlining. You have done gorgeous shading work so far. You've done beautiful, realistic shading. Outlining anything at this point is just going to make your drawing work look flatter. All right, so if we need to change the value of anything, we're going to adjust the value of the form shadow. We're not going to outline it, right? And that contrast is what will give us the illusion of that. Oh, I think I got little bits of salt here from salt paper left behind. I was like, what are those bumps? Yep, it's got to be some salt from salt paper. Okay. Make sure I'm still on camera here. Yep, we're good. And another sharpen. This is really going to make it feel like a complete drawing and less like just a sketch or an exercise. Now remember, if you were drawing from your own glass setup, you're going to probably have different tones or different values, okay, happening depending on whether you put your setup on white paper or just on the tabletop, right? So you can invent your values or tones, but you're going to have different shadows and different shapes depending on what you see happening here. I'm gonna have to like shuffle my shading. It is like so bumpy under there. Hang on a second. Grab it. dish rag here, or a towel or something. Take care of some of that bumpiness. See if that stops picking up the texture. Okay, dry my hands there quickly. Okay, let's see if that fixes it. Ah, the hazards of working in the kitchen. Oh, that's better. Yeah, there we go. I'm shading all these bumpy little crumbs into my picture. Or little bits of salt left behind. Okay. And one more rotation. I want to get right up to the edge. Nice even tone. Okay, I'm going to grab my tissue. And give it a good smudge. I just want to blend out so you can see all those little bumps. Just want to give a nice tone that these glasses are resting on. Right up to the edge of my glass as well. Give them a sense of space. Okay, one thing I notice happening in the background is it's lighter in value, except right at the very edge. Okay, so I'm gonna now do some background value. And this time, I'm gonna keep it kind of darkest at the edge, but then very quickly, I'm gonna let it fade out to much more of a middle value, because my background paper that I set up behind the glasses is quite clearly a bit lighter. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're both black sheets of paper, but because of how the light is hitting it, it appears to be lighter in tone or lighter in value. And again, do not outline your picture. We will do this all by Gorgeous Value. So if you see something blending in, you're gonna go back and you're gonna adjust the value of that shape. You are not gonna outline. Notice how I have not gone back and outlined any part of my glasses. If it's just kind of blending in a bit too much to the background, I go through and I adjust the value. I either darken my background value a little bit, or I lighten up that particular shadow within. There we go. So now, right, I was heavier right at the table line. Now I'm just gonna operate with a bit more of like a middle value pressure. So we're kind of firm middle here, right? Firm middle, true middle. Don't want to say middle light, because we still want it to feel fairly dark in value. And once again, I'm going right up to the edge of the glass. I'm not leaving any halos behind or anything like that. I'm going right up to the edge. And the reason we don't want to go dark, even though this is solid black paper, again, is because we have cast shadows we still have to deal with to really settle and make this drawing feel like it fits into and is part of the tabletop. And any old direction will do. Try to keep your pencil pressure as even as possible. Okay. And we'll rotating it around. A little rotating song for you. Again, I'm bringing it right up to the edge of the glass. My kind of medium pressure. I may have lightened up a little bit too much here. I'm going to go back and a little bit more pencil here. There we go. Okay. We just want to establish that tone, that ground, the sense of space that these glasses are sitting in. Oh, make sure I'm still on screen here, on camera. It's tricky. Sometimes I just get drawing and focused and I totally forget, like, hello, you're being recorded. Or you're recording yourself, you know, kind of thing. Okay. And then similarly here, bringing our middle value down and around the side of our glass, right up to the edge of it. And this value, once again, goes darker at this table edge. So I'm just going to go a little bit firmer. And then bring that darker value back up into that more true metal. And use my shade guard, because again, I don't want to smudge a really hard drawing work I've done already. So I'm going to keep resting my hand. Ooh, too dark there. Whoops. All right, that's part of keeping that pencil pressure even. I don't want to smudge all this hard shading work already, so use your shade guard. Have something for your hand to rest on, or else you're going to end up smearing all that hard work you've done all the way up your elbow. Right, I know usually I have in our art room, you know, like those scraps of like junk manila paper and things like that, but you know, at home, go to your own recycling bin, pull out a piece of junk mail or something like that, and just use that as a place to rest your hand. Again, I'm just going to darken my middle value ever so slightly, right? I never outline my hard drawing work, right? That'll just flatten all that beautiful shading you did. You want to go through and just adjust the value and tone of your background. Okay. And then get right to the edge of the paper, just like we did before. Okay. Grab that tissue again. All gooey with pencil, awesome. Go ahead and blend your background. Remember, you are still directing this pencil when you're blending. So you're getting right up to the edge of your glasses. You're bringing it right to the, you are not just like smearing over the whole surface. You are still drawing when you are blending. Try to keep my fingers out of it as best I can, because you can see the oils on your hand will leave some fingerprints behind as well. So okay, I'm still going to go back and even darken a little bit more at this edge here and try to get a bit more of that fade to happen. Layer in some more pencil, a little bit firmer pressure. Where I see it's blending out just a bit more than I'd like it to. That's better. Same at this edge, and at this point I've got kind of like a really, I've got a nice background worked up. I've got a nice sense of setting for these glasses, but the glasses still feel a bit floaty, like they're not anchored in their space. And that's because we're missing a critical element. We're missing the cast shadow. Now, even though these objects are oh, are you kidding me? Oh, never mind. I'm still going. Oh, my goodness. For a second, I thought it wasn't recording. Oh, that was a scary moment. Whew. Okay, we're good. We're still recording. Sorry about that all. Whew, I thought my camera had shut off for a second. Huh, that was a moment where I was like, no, I don't want to redo the whole background. See, we have those moments too, right, as teachers, where we're like, this was supposed to work out perfectly and now it's not. What's happening? Okay, let me readjust my camera there. Sorry about that all. Pause for technical difficulties. You can hear my cat egging me on in the background. She probably wants kibble, actually, wants a snack. Okay, whew, sorry about that all. Technical difficulties. Oh, there we go. Now you can really see it. Yeah, I'm getting a kind of awkward glare from the pencil. But if I tilt it to the side, you can see the shading work there. Okay, cool. So now it's time to focus on the cast shadow. So even though these glasses are see-through, they still block some light, right? Not the same as if we had a really solid object where we'd have this big, hard, harsh cast shadow. But it still blocks enough of it, particularly towards the edges and bottom of the glass. Okay, so one more time, I'm just gonna kind of tilt. And so what I want you to do now is look underneath the glass. If you're working from the photo, you're following right along with me. And you'll see underneath the glass, I want you to use your firmest, heaviest pencil pressure. You'll see there's a small cast shadow right underneath the glass. I'm going to use my Q-tip to give it a little bit of a blend. Whoop, a little extra fluff there. And I can also see directly along this side of the glass, strong cast shadow. So I'm going to use my firmest pencil pressure now. I'm going to draw in the shape of that cast shadow I see. And what's interesting about this cast shadow is I see it go kind of off in the corner, and it's heaviest, 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 and then it starts to really just kind of like fade into the tabletop value. It goes right to the edge of that tabletop and then kind of fades out a bit. So heaviest, heaviest here, fades as it goes away. I'm going to give that a little bit of a blend with my Q-tip. Okay, and then on the wall, I can see it casting this shape here. And I actually just see, once again, kind of heaviest at the edge here, coming down. Then it kind of fades as it goes to the middle, where more light is passing evenly through the glass. So once again, kind of like what we did within the form of the glass itself, we have to observe, hey kitty, hey Dot, you have to observe where you see that cast shadow happening. And now you can see that glass is much more anchored to the space. Okay, let's do this cast shadow here too. Same thing, as I look at the base, I can see a little teeny tiny slender cast shadow right underneath the glass. It's little. It's like a tiny little crescent moon underneath here. Not a big harsh one, just a little guy. There it is. Okay. And then on the wall behind it, this is what's kind of funky, is I can actually see the shape of I actually see a double cast shadow a little bit. I see the shape of the glass coming up here. I can actually see the cast shadow subtly through parts of the glass itself, which is kind of crazy. I can see where the cast shadow actually gets darker behind the glass here. Yes, Dot, I can hear you. I can hear you, kitty. Probably wants a snack. Okay, and then I can see it comes up into this part of the glass. So I can actually see part of the cast shadow through there. And then I've got this really faint one that actually comes outside and down this way. And that's what those two dark spots were behind the glass. And then kind of comes in this way. So I've got this like funky kind of double casting happening. Okay, and then same thing. We're just going to use our pencil pressure. Firmer pencil pressure this time to add in the cast shadows we see. I'm using my shade guard, most definitely. on this. Okay, and it's kind of almost, it's like heavy at the edges and then again fades towards the center as more light passes through the glass. I know, Kitty, you want some loves. But I have to finish working on my drawing. Okay, and I'm even gonna shade darker in where I see that cast shadow going behind the glass itself, which is pretty funky. We see that happening, which is neat. Kind of meets up with this darker section in the glass itself. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then this outer shadow, it's like, it's just a lot more subtle. Do you know what I mean? It gets a little bit heavier up here, but it's actually pretty soft. It's a little bit darker, but not quite as dramatic as this one in here. So I'm gonna just be a little bit of a lighter touch with the pencil. Okay, and once again, Q-tip. Really make these shadows feel nice and soft. Like they're part of that background, right? I don't want them to feel like they're sitting on top of the background. I want them to feel like they are a part of it. Okay, now that I have the shadows complete, last but not least, here let me kind of tilt that again so you can see, because I'm getting some pretty, with that shiny graphite, I'm getting some really gnarly reflections on there. So there's my cast shadows. I'll make sure to photograph this and put it at the end of the video so you can see it without all the glare I'm getting here. But finally, the last thing I want you to do is just take your eraser, touch up anywhere you've maybe accidentally smudged into a... Sorry, all technical difficulties. I don't know why that cut out there. So finally, like I said, touch up with the eraser, okay? And you've worked, you know, dust off any of those eraser crumbs. You've worked really hard, so this deserves an artist signature. And I would say go ahead and give yourself a date as well. So it's April 2020. Okay, and of course make sure your name goes on the back as well with your class period, whatever that happens to be, right? 1A, 4B, okay? You know me, I always write sample on mine. All right, and there is our completed glass draw along. All right, thanks so much for joining me in the art room, ladies and